Red-Green Smoker is one of the most exciting decks in OP10, but is it actually meta? Today we will break down the deck list, key plays and how to dominate your matchups. Smoker is an aggressive mid-range leader that rewards smart sequencing. With a mix of strong KO effects and board pressure, this deck thrives against the decks lacking exceptional removal or big game-changing bodies. Main strengths are high-value early and mid-game turns with a possibility to turtle behind 8-cost kit. However, being a 4-life leader might be abusable weakness. Due to leader's effect, we will build our deck around Navy and Punk Hazard cards to abuse plus 1000 power during opponent's turn. We want to drop 7000 power characters as soon as possible to start generating value through setting 2 Dawn cards back as active. 2 cards that are superstars of the deck, or win condition if you will, are 5-cost Smoker and 8-cost Kit. As 5-cost 7000 power character, Smoker has a perfect synergy with our leader's effect. As early as turn 3 going first, we can start using 2 extra Dawn per turn. On top of that, character Smoker sets 1 Dawn as active through his own effect, totaling on whopping 3 extra Dawn per turn. A Dawn to play with on turn 3. Sounds good? And if it's not enough, it's a character with Banish, so we can deny resources from our opponent taking life. 8-cost Kit is our saving grace in any aggressive matchup, especially in very popular Blue Doffy matchup. As a 4-life leader, we can easily get overwhelmed, so we need some defensive power. And there is no better defense than 8-cost Kit. When timely played against unprepared opponents, he can win the games by himself. If we add to the mix setting Dawn back as active, we can protect ourselves with 8-cost Kit and protect the 8-cost Kit with Jump Blocker or removal prevention effects. For this reason, we play 2 strongest protectors in the game: 2-cost Rosinante Blocker and newly printed 3-cost Tashigi. Both these cards can be played together with 5-cost Smoker on turn 3, and from 8-cost Kit effect, making perfect synergy in a deck that gets value through characters on board. 2-cost Rosinante is our well-known Jump Blocker that can be trashed instead of character being KO'd. 3-cost Tashigi is a disgusting addition to green cards pool in OP10. 2k counter and effect that by resting Tashigi you can prevent removal of any of your green characters. With such protection on the field, your win condition cards will be untouchable, and look how cute Tashigi looks in Smoker's body. Next, let's speak about 2 amazing early game cards: Straw Hat Duo, Sanji and Tony Chopper in bodies of their crew members. Sanji fits your going first curve nicely. It's an amazing attacker due to plus 3000 power buff on your turn, totaling in 6000 power push for 3 Dawn. And that's not all. He also refunds himself on KO by drawing you a card. Also remember, he will be 4000 power during opponent's turn, so if they want to remove him by attacking, they most likely need to attach Dawn for 6000 power attack. So in a sense, for 3 Dawn we are developing 6000 power character, pseudo blocker that refunds itself and forces your opponent to swing 6k. What a beast of a card. And being 3 Dawn cost, you can also feed him together with Smoker on turn 3 if you are missing 3-cost Tashigi in hand. On the opposite spectrum we have Choppa. It's a 2k counter and a 4-cost 4000 power blocker, but what's crucial here is he gets plus 2000 power during opponent's turn and another plus 1000 power from leader's effect. So basically we play 7000 power blocker for 4 Dawn. Amazing early game protection for a leader with 4 starting life. To keep up with our early and mid game pressure, we play some 7 Dawn heavy hitters: Hody Jones and Ben Beckman. Even though they don't have Navy or Punk Hazard type, these 2 cards bring amazing tempo to keep up the pace of the game in our favor. Hody is not only a great finisher, but draws us a card from life to set up for 8-cost Kit turn. But if we drop him on 10 Dawn turn as a finisher, we can do some disgusting attacks. Even if our board is empty, we get to restand 2 Dawn, which results with 2 9k power attacks or any other desired combination of 5 Dawn between Hody and the leader. Ben Beckman is so cool that even Smoker wants him on his side. Play 7 cost on curve that trashes one 6000 power character or less is just too strong tempo. Pay attention that he is trashing a card, so we play around KO protection from our opponent. On top of that, it's another 7000 power character to get our leader's engine going. If we speak about power-based removal that red excels in, Monet is an amazing utility card. Stats doesn't really matter here. What's important is that the effect is activate main, so you can activate it immediately after playing her down. She refunds herself by giving 2 rested Dawn to leader or character, and on top of that reduces one of your opponent's character's power by 1000. And because we are resting her to do that, your opponent might attack into her to prevent you from getting any more value, which helps us to save the life cards. Okay, we play a lot of Punk Hazard cards, but what about consistency? Fortunately, Bandai printed relevant searcher directly in OP10. Virgo, simple top 5 search for Punk Hazard card. Until now I presented you 2 names of 2k counters totaling in 8 copies of 2ks. But there is one card that is red favorite in any removal deck. Otama. We restand a lot of Dawn, so it's only fitting to include low cost reducer for our removal effects. And Otama is just perfect. Minus 2000 power for 1 Dawn helps to hit a lot of sweet spots for removal, and worst case scenario, she is still a 2k counter in hand if not played. And such reduction we can pair nicely with removal event like Gum Gum Mole Pistol from ST21. Card is great. In practice we can simply KO 7000 power character if targeted by effect, but there are also other uses for this card. If you pair it with reduction like Monet versus let's say Doffy, you can reduce minus 1000 power Teach from Monet to KO it with Mole Pistol effect, minus 5000 power any rested body from Doffy, and swing into it to remove 2 important pieces from the board. A lot of flexibility, and we always have Dawn to spend on removal. There is also one very strong defensive event with Punk Hazard type, making it searchable with Virgo. 10 layer Igloo. For 2 Dawn, in practice we counter 5000 power, but in a nice divided manner. 3000 up front and minus 2000 if we need it directly or on the next potential attacker. Trigger might also come handy to mess with opponents' attack patterns by buffing our leader or character 1000 power for the rest of the turn. Last defensive event is Radical Beam. It's not searchable, so probably play 1 or max 2 copies, but it's just a staple in red. 1 Dawn for 4000 power counter is pure value, and condition to be at 2 life when we are 4 life leader and play towards 8 cost kit is very easy to met. Lastly, I have a card that is a deck due to the amount of bricks we play. In total we have 18 cards without counter in deck. Yes, some of them are events for which we will leave Dawn open, but what if your hand gets clogged with too many of them or counterless characters? Answer is Baccarat. 3 cost is easy to fit in with 5 cost Smoker or 8 cost Kit. Blocker to protect key characters or life. And on opponent's attack we can once per turn trash any card for 2k counter. Bye bye bricks, we are generating value. This is the list played by the winner of Japan Finals, and I really like it. You can experiment and change ratios of the events or maybe discover even better card combos. After all, it's Punk Hazard team with strong staples from red and green through the years. For the starting turn order, most of the time we want to go first to be the aggressor and get access to leader's effect as soon as possible. However, going second is also viable because we can play and activate the 8 cost kit as soon as we hit 8 Dawn on curve. It's possible because our leader will restand 2 Dawn, 1 for attachment to kit and 1 for some counter event or whatever you need. If you are going first, Mulligan for your curve, Searcher, 5 cost Smoker, any free drop to pair with Smoker and 7 cost Bomb. If going second, you still want to see early plays like Searcher, 3 or 4 drop on turn 2, most likely Chopper, 5 drop Smoker for turn 3 to start using leader's effect, and 8 cost kit to lock the game on curve. Let's briefly go through your best turns and power spikes. On 3 Dawn your best play is Sanji, as you can directly push 6000 power attack on the following turn without Dawn commitment. 5 Dawn turn is your main power spike. 5 cost Smoker optimally paired with 3 cost Tashigi for protection. The sequencing is swing with the board, play 5 cost Smoker, restand 2 Dawn with Leader's Effect, restand 1 Dawn with 5 cost Smoker, play 3 cost Tashigi, pass. On a 7 Dawn turn, depending on the board and situation in game, you want to swing with your characters first and see how your opponent reacts. If your character Smoker survived and you have Hodi in hand, you can have really pushy turn. Prioritize to swing into your opponent's life with Smoker to make the most use of Banish effect. If you need more control approach or you just want to conserve the life, just drop 7 cost Ben Beckman on curve and get control on the board. 9 Dawn onwards you have so many possibilities, especially if you are able to maintain 7000 power or more character on board. At this point you can lock out your opponent out of the game by dropping 8 cost kit, or if you have Hodi in hand and there is the range, just push for the game. But every game is different, so adjust to each board state and your opponent. Your main power spike going second is playing Chopper on 4 Dawn. Follow up with 5 cost Smoker on 6 Dawn, restand the Dawn, and you have 4 Dawn to drop another Chopper or any low cost character. 8 Dawn turn, kit on curve should be the lock together with any 3 cost character or lower from effect. Restand Dawn, attach to kit, and chill. For the matchups, expected metagame for OP10 is Doffy and Blackbeard. And you have good matchup into both of them. You play a lot of activate main effect and cheat Dawn, which is a nightmare for Blackbeard. Versus Doffy, you have old and reliable 8 cost kit wall. However, versus decks that excel in removal like Usopp, or the decks that outvalue you with their own big characters like Shanks, you're gonna have a bad time. Now it's your turn. Do you think Smoker will be meta in OP10? Let me know down in the comments. I will be testing more OP10 decks, so subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the meta. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video, bye bye.